Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. January was full of great releases. First we got Fire Emblem Engage, and then we got this surprise banger out of nowhere. Shown off in Xbox's Developers Direct, Hi-Fi Rush was the biggest surprise of the event. The visuals were so striking, it looked just like a comic book. Not only did the visuals impress, the gameplay looked fast and kinetic. An action game made by the same people behind Evil Within? It can't get any better than this. I'm sorry, what? Not only did Microsoft show off a cool action game, they also had the audacity to release it on the same day? This was an insane power move. I'm still torn on whether or not it should have been shadow dropped like that, but regardless, I'm not mad. It's one of the best games I've played this year. And I know we're just getting started with the year, but my goodness, this is an excellent game. And we are just getting started with this year. Before we start getting into Hi-Fi Rush, if you would, hit that like button if you like this video, and consider subscribing for more content like this. I primarily focus on video games, whether it's Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, you name it. I try to focus on things that I'm personally interested in. But yeah, if you would, check out the rest of my channel. Okay, now that we got that spiel out of the way, let's get into it. Hi-Fi Rush is an action rhythm game. The whole world is tied to the beat of the music that is being played. You will see each area dancing to the music, and it never gets old. Think of the enemies in New Super Mario Bros. Cranked up to 11. Even the cutscenes are synced to the music. It all feels coherent throughout. The music is also synced with the combat. The more you stay on beat, the better bonuses are in your combos. It takes some time to get into the groove, but once you're there, it's hard to put the controller down. It feels like each encounter adds a new element or twist that keeps things fresh. Your moveset will increase throughout the game, giving you more to play with in combat. Luckily, you can upgrade your moves and add more to your combos. I have always had a hard time learning and remembering combos, but for some reason in Hi-Fi, these combos are actually sticking with me. It is so satisfying pulling off a slick, perfect combo. And I think the timing of the beats really help it feel more rewarding. The game as a whole is rewarding. You are rewarded for your curiosity as you go off the beaten path, collecting upgrades. It's so fun going off and looking for a piece of health capacity, and it feels valuable. Some games don't do enough to make the journey away from the main route worth it, but Hi-Fi Rush is different. It constantly rewards players for their curiosity and their skills. The level design of each area is terrific. You can tell exactly where you need to go. The path is pretty clear, but the area isn't linear either. I mean, it is linear, but they have some sections where you can kind of go off the beaten path and find some nice collectibles. Each level is different in terms of the environment and mechanics. There's one level where you'll be on a moving platform battling hordes of enemies, and another level where you'll be doing a lot of platforming. The devs were able to make each level look distinct, despite the fact that the whole game takes place in one big campus at Vandalay Technologies. Let's just say I wasn't expecting to see a level looking like this in the game. Both in combat and in certain scenes, QuickTime events will pop up. Now, normally I don't like QuickTime events in video games as they can take away from potentially cool gameplay scenarios and replaces them with button prompts. However, in Hi-Fi Rush, it works in the game's benefit because you are already thinking about the rhythm in the game. And the QuickTime events helps mixes things up in a good way. Outside of traversing these levels, you can chill at your base. Here you can chill, talk to allies, and upgrade abilities. There's even a training room that lets you fight a dummy, and you can set all the settings so that you can have the dummy fight you back. And honestly, it's a great way to learn more of these combos. You can even get chips that give you special perks. Luckily, the hub is not intrusive, and it gives you a nice break before the next area. Like I said before, the world is synced with the music, which means some platforms or hazards are also synced. This gives the platforming sections challenge, as you have to time your jumps or dashes, and I do have some small nitpicks with the platforming, and this is probably a me thing, but it's not as flexible as other platformers. And that's probably because this isn't a straight up platformer, but it just has platforming elements. It just takes some getting used to. I feel like you should be able to go further horizontally than you actually do. But then again, there's a dash, so it's not a big deal. It's just something I had to get used to. I have a similar nitpick for the character's speed in the game. It can feel a bit slow. Of course, the counter to this is the fact that you can dash if you want. And if you dash to the beat, you can go a bit further. But I also kind of wish that there was a sprint to make getting around a bit quicker. But I digress. This game is awesome, and I don't have many legitimate complaints. But hear me when I say this, that this game does so many things right. Because this game is all about the music and staying on beats, how does the music actually hold up? Well, not surprisingly at all, it's really good. Seeing how Chai, the main protagonist of the game, is trying to be a rock star, it makes sense that the game's soundtrack is rock, and it's great. It's so dynamic. When you're in the more quieter parts of the levels, you hear that in the music. It's a bit quiet down, less instruments. But then when you get into these exciting moments throughout the levels, like a chase sequence or a boss fight, the music goes off the rails. And then once you get into the climax of that level or boss fight, you start to hear vocals, and that just really ramps it up. The game's original soundtrack was composed by Shuichi Kobori, Ryo Yorotani, and Masatoshi Yanagi. These composers did an excellent job with the game's original soundtrack, but that's not the whole story throughout the soundtrack. As Hi-Fi Rush introduces licensed music, I'm not gonna lie, at first I wasn't really into this idea, but for whatever reason, it really works in this game. And thankfully for content creators and streamers, they also have an option where you can replace all the licensed songs with similar original tracks performed by the band The Glass Pyramids. This is a fantastic way as to not only, keep from getting copyright strikes on YouTube, but it also gives the players excuse to play through the whole game again without the licensed songs. In fact, because I played it with the licensed songs in mind, I didn't really experience too much of the unlicensed songs, and now I kind of want to go back and listen to them. It's so cool what they did with the music here. And I wish I knew more about music so that I could properly explain what is going on here. It's just amazing. The way that this game nails just about every aspect of what you would typically look for in a game, it's just astounding. The narrative, while it's not anything mind-blowing, has fantastic characters. I will go on to remember Chai and his friends throughout the year. Chai is just such a lovable goofball, and he's kind of not the smartest, or at least he doesn't take things seriously, and I just love him for that. And normally having a kind of dumb protagonist can kind of be a trope, but here it works great. And Chai is just so lovable, and he just wants to do the right thing, but he's also kind of silly. It just works. It also helps that the other cast of characters, like Peppermint, really help balance him out. I also love the writing in this game. Yeah, it's cheesy, it's campy, but man does it work for this game. Each character has their own distinct personality. Even the robots are super funny, especially the super serious detective that you meet in the game, and you keep meeting him throughout different points of the game, and it's hilarious. He is the best character in this game, hands down. The humor just works in this game. Yeah, there's some lines that don't land as well, but man, these characters, Chai, Peppermint, Macaron, and of course each of the bosses that you meet, they all just work, and they have this banter with each other. These characters are so charming, and I like when they interact with one another. The campy dialogue really elevates this game, and it wouldn't be the same without it. Speaking of, you can have Peppermint and other characters kind of switch out and add to your combos. Not only can you have them participate in fights and add to your combos, but they can also help you access other parts of the level. Of course, for some levels you have to go back and actually use them in that level, but still, it's a great incentive to go back in the levels and play through them again. Oh, and before I forget, the boss fights are fantastic. The first boss fight makes a strong first impression. The boss fights are challenging but fair. And they are so exciting, especially like I said with the music blaring in the background and the beautiful in-between cutscenes that you have in between each phase, or there's even cool moves that the boss can do on you. And like this lady straight up breaks your back. This clip alone should be enough to get you to want to play this game. There's moments like this scattered throughout the game. And the art style and animation, I don't even need to talk about that. But I'm still going to because wow is it striking. It's like if Arc System Works made a 3D action game with a splash of comic book flair in there, and man, you got yourself one good looking game. They have both cutscenes and the in-game engine and just straight up animated. And I love the transitions between the two. They do some clever things there, like filling the screen with smoke and then transitioning to a animated cutscene or an in-game cutscene. Hi-Fi Rush is full of personality and style. Even Chai's idle animation is cool. I love the fact that his idle animation snaps to the beat, as well as tapping his foot to the beat. It's such a small detail, but it goes a long way. The game is packed with references, especially to anime, and it doesn't even try to hide it. I mean, come on, I know a JoJo reference when I see one. It embraces the thrilling, bombastic tone, and it shows in everything right down to the UI. And it's not like this game is all style and no substance. There's actually substance here to back it up. Yeah, the game is flashy, but it earns that flashiness. It just enhances the overall experience, and it makes this game stand out amongst other action games in this genre. I could go on about this game, but man, if you have an Xbox or a PC, and especially if you have Game Pass on either of those, you have to play Hi-Fi Rush. It's a must-buy if you like action games. Even if you don't like rhythm games or if you never played a rhythm game, I highly recommend this one. It's still an action game, so you're still having that high-octane fun, bashing enemies against each other and, slaying groups of enemies and robots and dishing out all these cool and creative combos. All that's still there, but it also has this rhythm game sewn into it, and it just all meshes so well. So yeah, if you're on PC or Xbox, you have no excuse. You have to play this game. But let me know your thoughts down below. Are you interested in Hi-Fi Rush? Are you able to play Hi-Fi Rush? I would love for this game to be on all platforms, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like it's on PlayStation. So let me know your thoughts down below. And be sure to subscribe for more content like this. It really does help out the channel a lot. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. God bless.